back up to 21 viewers, by the way.
Bro, I cannot decide on what I'm going to eat with this chicken. This is annoying me.
Okay, next topic. Don't worry, 21 viewers, I got you. All right. So, Kamui. Kawaki and Boruto swapping places works as a concept for the end of part 1 narratively, but not omnipotence / the prophecy. So, the idea can work, the execution just obviously didn't. So the idea being boiled down is to, and you've heard this a billion times, maybe not in reference to with Kawaki, but you heard in terms of Naruto. So Boruto is the boy who had everything, then lost it, versus the other person who's the opposite. So usually that's Naruto in that case. Naruto started with nothing, then gained everything. Boruto started with everything, and his story is losing everything. So this is really interesting when, regardless of omnipotence or the prophecy, you use this for Boruto and Kawaki, because through omnipotence, they literally swapped places. Through Boruto losing everything, if Boruto and Kawaki are swapping, Kawaki gained everything Boruto had and lost. So if they're going for that aspect, technically they couldn't have nailed it better literally. Kawaki literally gained everything Boruto had in a regard.
Yes, but this wasn't the only way to do that.
Oh, I know. I was really just interested in... Okay, that's why I'm saying I don't like Omnipotence or the Prophecy. Do you like, for the end of part 1, just narratively, Kawaki and Boruto swapping places?
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all.
Okay, cool. Check him. Make sure. We're gonna talk on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like I said, that there's plenty of other ways they could have approached it, but I see zero problems with it, especially just given the whole Kawaki's kind of like Naruto but dark, and Boruto's kind of like Sasuke but light, and so they'll play with dynamics of both. It's just the way they did it is the thing that I don't like.
In fact, you can apply this to Boruto and Kawaki from the beginning as well. Kawaki started technically in a weird way, if you wanted to argue it, with nothing, and then gained everything, and Boruto started with everything, lost everything. Two Blue Vortex, they've walked a mile in each other's shoes for a year, and now it starts to maybe switch back in the other direction, to where now Boruto and Two Blue Vortex started with nothing, and he's going to gain everything, and that's his story. Whereas Kawaki started with everything, and this is his story of how he loses everything this time.
No, it narratively works. I tend to like parallel storytelling, so I'm kind of biased towards it, but yeah, like I think that is a concept that works really well.
Yeah. So for now, let's not rewrite Omnipotence or the Prophecy. Let's instead ignore them entirely and focus on Boruto and Kawaki swapping places for the concept of the end of part 1 narratively. How would you go about it if you can't use Omnipotence or the Prophecy?
Okay, so we can't use the prophecy.
Yeah, because in that case, that's a rewrite. I don't want to even touch those because we just don't even like them.
I was gonna say you can just change what the prophecy is.
Exactly, but that's the cop-out answer. So what would you do is the thing.
So like in this case, do Omnipotence and the prophecy happen?
If you want them to.
There just is no prophecy.
So okay, here's the thing. You can rewrite the prophecy in this case. You could have it happen, you could have it not happen, you could have it happen in the same way, you could have it happen in a different way. I don't care. The point is you can't use that as your answer. It has to be something else or just context for it, for your answer.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is I would just do what I imagine Kodachi was originally going to do for the prophecy. So omnipotence wouldn't happen. Boruto Kawaki switching places, would it be essentially real? Like people would actually be doubting Boruto or turning on Boruto, and they would actually be agreeing with Kawaki. Now, you can do that in more than one way. They could be genuinely mad at Boruto, but maybe more realistically, they just lose faith in Boruto. So if Momoshiki, like the build up with Momoshiki actually happens, and Momoshiki does some bad shit to the point to where right after Kawaki has made his point, Momoshiki proves his point. And so Shikamaru, the logical guy, everyone around him, they can't help but agree with Kawaki. They're going to be looking at Boruto and be like, I'm sorry, Boruto, but Kawaki's right. You need to die. And I guess in this case, I don't know how much you want to rewrite with Boruto, but Boruto is going to continue to not want to die.
Yeah.
And the only people who are going to side with them, of course, will be Sarah and Sumire, not because they're immune to omnipotence, but because they love Boruto, and there is no way they will ever turn on him, no matter what. But something as simple as that just feels better. I don't know, man. Like, and it's not that Kawaki's gonna be Kawaki Uzumaki. It's just gonna be Kawaki's right. And they're not going to hate Kawaki because they understand that it's not because he's evil, but because he's just right. He's doing it for the village. And maybe everyone will grow to respect Kawaki because of, oh, how far he goes to protect the village. He's got that will of fire, eh? Stuff like that.
So how would you get around Boruto saying and proving he's resolved to die consistently 2 arcs in a row? With no change.
Okay, so let's just say now we have to go back further because the problem is, well, that problem already exists anyway. So that's like to say, how much rewriting do you want to do?
Well, you could just give him a reason to not want to die for some other reason. Like maybe he needs to, even if it's a risk, he needs to live for some other
I'm
reason.
thinking, rather than just him thinking he can, I mean, the problem is he can think he can control Momoshiki's power better, but I think the best thing we can probably do is give him a reason to feel he needs to live, and that reason isn't going to be just because he wants to. I think, especially in relation to Two Blue Vortex, maybe make his reason to live related to protecting Sarada and Himawari. Now, just to stop for a minute, do you like that idea? Boruto's wants to live because he feels he needs to live so he can protect Sarada and Himawari. Do you like that idea? That's the starting point.
Yes, but why is he confident that Momoshiki isn't going to harm them? Why does he think that he can control Momoshiki?
Okay, so this is where we have to like
he just does randomly,
backtrack even more.
Even though he stopped taking the pills in the code arc, he just can do it now after he absorbs the last 17% or whatever. I can control Momoshiki better now.
I don't know. So I can't remember if in my Mitsuki rewrite I addressed this part or if I just didn't because it wasn't the purpose of the rewrite. I know I addressed the pills and the horn. I can't remember if I addressed why Boruto feels this way or if I just said this is the flaw he got in the code arc and we're gonna carry it forward. But regardless, if I don't know if I did that or not, so we can always refigure it out. Why does Boruto think he can do it? A good reason. Maybe it's not that he thinks he can, it's just that he thinks he needs to.
Well, no, I don't think that works.
Goofy as that sounds. Yeah.
I don't think that changes. Okay, so you could have it be to where Momoshiki lies to him, where Momoshiki says he can't take over Boruto's body anymore, and Boruto just believes him for whatever reason. That could be his flaw. Naivety, maybe.
Honestly, it works with the blue eyes naiveness thing.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
Like if Momoshiki doesn't have to say, "Oh, bummer," my prophecy will fail. I won't be. He doesn't have to be like goofy about it. He can just say like,
"Yeah,
you've taken away my chance to resurrect." And then when See, the problem is, okay, so really backtracking. Boruto asks, hey, is this what you meant by me losing everything? And Momoshiki says, no, this has nothing on that. Ha ha ha, blah, blah, blah. Would you keep that line in there, but then just not have him bring it up again as far as what he plans to do with it? Or would you have him just not say that and just have him maybe smirk and then not say anything?
I think it's fine to say that Momoshiki's ticking time clock isn't going to run out, and Momoshiki can't take over control because he's banking on Momoshiki's prophecy. So that's what. Okay, that I like that better than my alternative. My alternative was going to be that Momoshiki really had no other choice, and now his only option is to wait for Boruto to either die or for Boruto to place his karma on someone else. But I think just reminding the audience of the prophecy works even better.
Yeah, so Boruto, like, so Momoshiki, are we gonna keep Momoshiki not be able to resurrect, but he's not gonna say what his plan is, or is he still gonna be able to resurrect, and we're just gonna remove that plot point? What are you getting at there?
That'd
I
be
lost the
freaking
plot.
crazy if he just lied on all fronts and he just continued the ticking time clock, and Boruto just didn't know. I mean, realistically, he should have done that. That's crazy. I like that. Kind of just like that.
Or even if he couldn't resurrect, he should have just told Boruto that, like, just so you know, I can still resurrect or something. Like, why not just lie to make Boruto worried?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want Boruto to kill himself when he can't
Mm-hmm.
heal him again. So
That's true.
yeah.
But I'm thinking Momoshiki can just say, like, I can't resurrect now. So Boruto thinks it's not a problem. And Momoshiki doesn't do the whole, you're going to despair. And when that happens, I'll take over you. He doesn't tell Boruto that part. At most, he thinks about it. But I think he should just like, Boruto's like, is this what he meant by losing everything? He's like, smirks, no, that this has nothing on that. Ha ha ha. And then he doesn't elaborate on anything further as far as what his plan is. So Kawaki will be the only person thinking he has a plan, and whereas Boruto is just oblivious. He's being naive, whatever. That could just work. So it's not that Boruto thinks like anything special. It's just he just thinks Momoshiki isn't a threat, basically.
Yeah. So I have okay. This is getting into fanfic territory at this point. I'll admit it. But what if Momoshiki admits he can't do anything, but he says that he's entirely against Boruto and he's completely for the Otsutsuki and he wants Otsutsuki Creed just like Ishiki now? And so part of his prophecy that he hasn't revealed until now is actually there's been freaking Momoshiki's uncle, I don't care, a King Otsutsuki, someone new Momoshiki's known all along when he's coming, and he's coming soon, and that's part of the prophecy. And so when he comes, rather than Momoshiki being able to take control, Momoshiki interferes with Boruto, messing up his chakra network and doing stuff internally just to mess with them, making him unable to fight basically. So then this new Otsutsuki can just capture him, feed him to the Tin Tails. Boruto turns into a chakra tree fruit, whatever, and then Otsutsuki Creed, that Otsutsuki just evolves based on eating Momoshiki.
Nah, I don't like it. Unless it's going to be a thing that allows Momoshiki to resurrect, then I don't. I only want it to be a thing that Momoshiki is going to do to resurrect himself or to take over. So if the other Tsuki plays into that, that's fine. But I want it to be for Momoshiki's own sake. Because Momoshiki is a selfish character. He's not just going to do that.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking that could be a really cool thing if Momoshiki can just interfere with Boruto. Almost similar to how
Like Kurama.
Kind of. I was thinking the opposite of how the Jinchuriki can disrupt Genjutsu, Well, what if like not like not like Momoshiki putting Boruto inside a Genjutsu, but what if like Momoshiki can just like disrupt Boruto's chakra network, or even like randomly unlock or delock the gates at random points in time, just like mess with I don't know, even like turn off his chakra points, basically internal gentle fist, something like that.
That'd be wild, bro. He just
Even
turns on the seventh gate board to gets tired as hell.
yeah, even the pills, the Byakugan suppressant pills, could be a red herring. Momoshiki could have been the one that gave Boruto that heart attack. Like thing,
Well, I mean,
anyways.
we still don't know for sure because like
Yeah.
it almost feels like Momoshiki did, but at the same time, like it was the pill. The way they
Oh,
did it.
weird. Again, that's what I'm saying. It could be a red herring to where the audience just doesn't know till later, until Boruto or till
And
Momoshiki reveals it.
that would work. That would work in the sense of Momoshiki doing that again in the prophecy arc, to where Boruto thinks it's the pills, he stops taking the pills. So it's a double front here. Boruto thinks the heart attack was because of the pills, and he thinks that he can control Momoshiki now. So it's a double whammy of problem because the heart attack actually wasn't the pills, it's actually Momoshiki. And by not taking the pills, he's only increased the chance of the heart attack from Momoshiki.
I like this because okay, well, why couldn't Momoshiki do this all along? Well, Momoshiki was like entirely within the contained karma. At this point, karma has become him, but not fully him, only 17% of his body. So maybe Momoshiki can comment on this. I can control your body, but only 17% of it. So I'm going to control the most important parts of it, like your internal organs. And so through doing this, because he doesn't want Boruto to die because then he'll die, he can control Boruto in a way to where he can make Boruto helpless or out of control in moments where he needs it. So making Boruto desperate, making him give in to his own despair.
Yeah. Or given to Momoshiki because he's having a heart attack and he thinks he's literally done for.
Exactly. So like even right now when he's fighting Hidari, Hidari's about to eat Sarada. What if Momoshiki just stops him from being able to save Sarada? And Boruto can't do anything.
Exactly.
Like he's
To make
basically
Boruto despair.
paralyzed on the floor, watching, incapable of doing anything but watching his friend get consumed in front of him, desperately hoping for his help or something. He just
And
can't
what
do
if he
anything.
doesn't know? Like, do you prefer that he does or doesn't know that Momoshiki's doing it?
Either way, I
Obviously,
want
at the
us
first
to
time, he
know.
wouldn't know.
I would like. I think
Yeah.
Momoshiki would tell him.
I think the first time, realistically, I would see in the prophecy arc scenario, if this happened, Boruto wouldn't know it was coming. He wouldn't know Momoshiki did it, but then Momoshiki would just tell him, like, ha ha ha, you fool. You thought these were the pills. I was actually me all along. So then from there, he would know.
In fact, I think that makes more sense than Momoshiki just being randomly able to take control at any point in the prophecy arc to like free Kawaki for a second or whatever. In this case, he can just like control Boruto's body slightly for like a second. Boruto just stays conscious.
Yeah, and then it's like when Boruto's paralyzed. Because the thing is, well, you say, why does Momoshiki do this before? Well, for the most part, Momoshiki could only take over when Boruto was unconscious or like low on chakra and then fell unconscious.
Or
Like,
even I
or
know
the heart
exactly.
attack.
I know exactly how Momoshiki can free Kawaki in that instance without taking over control. The exact same thing Jigen did, activating Kawaki's karma seal to teleport out of it. In this case, Boruto's karma stomach thing just like fires a beam or a teleportation or whatever it does.
You mean like he's just gonna teleport Kawaki?
It doesn't. It could be anything. The point is that just his stomach karma activates, or even his hand karma. It doesn't really matter. The point is that Momoshiki is just able to do that. To use karmic
I mean,
abilities.
so what I'll say is, in this regard, the idea of Momoshiki using the chest karma, I like, because there's a thing to where Boruto thinks it's all fine and dandy, but Momoshiki found a secret use for it that Boruto doesn't expect.
Yeah.
And so that scar is more than just a physical scar. It's also a representation of what Momoshiki can do with it, because that scar is a karma, and whatever he does with it is what he does with it. So to some extent, I like that concept. I don't think I like that application because it seems really weird and goofy, but
I know.
I'm not really sure how I would use it in the first place, to be fair.
Well, you could just give him any, like, part of Momoshiki's ability is just absorbing, so just absorb whatever contains Kawaki. In this case, it's not physically things wrapped around him, it's like a seal, a chakra seal.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the idea of him absorbing with the chest karma, like just absorbing the shadow possession is fine and all, but like that's not really any different than what we got at the end of the day. Although in this case, you could have him just do it without taking over. It's more just like
Exactly, that's what I'm
Boruto's
getting at.
conscious and Momoshiki just absorbs through that.
Yeah, so
karma
that's what,
tattoo.
and again, he can do this at any point despite Boruto being conscious. I think that's awesome going forward. It's like he has an enemy inside him that's actively trying to stop everything he does, and he basically can to some degree. So, like, for example, Boruto can never hug anyone ever again, because Momoshiki would just kill him through the chest karma. Or, like, anytime
Yeah, he would
he's
just
in
like
a fight.
send him away to another dimension.
Bro. Yeah, like, Momoshiki can just interfere at any point. I love that as an idea. He could be fighting a villain or fighting with a friend, and then Momoshiki's like trying to fight his friend as Boruto's trying to fight the villain.
I mean, it definitely is something to play with. I also like the heart attack idea, to where Momoshiki just gives him a heart attack at some unexpected moment in the prophecy arc, and Boruto's just not ready for it.
Exactly.
It's like the shocking revelation,
Yeah.
Plot point 18. Like, that would work.
And again, he doesn't have to tell him immediately, as long as he tells him at some point. And I would like the audience to know at some point too, obviously. Could be in the
I like the
prophecy
idea
arc.
that he tells him when he's taking over, because Boruto can't take back control right now anyway. So it's like Momoshiki just gloating.
It depends, I guess, when the first time you do it is, or what the first time is. Because if the first time he does it is when one of his friends is in danger, and he's there to try and help them, but then he can't, Momoshiki would absolutely be like, I'm doing this, and you can't do anything about it. Despair, Boruto,
Yeah,
despair.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, and then exactly, now what I was gonna say is Boruto should still despair and give control to Momoshiki willingly, and I would still keep that idea. We're just changing how we get there in this case. So this would be different from my Mitsuki rewrite, which is operating it under omnipotence. In this case, it would be like, so actually, we have to think of the specifics then, because Momoshiki wouldn't be killing anyone, because this is preventing Boruto from saving someone. So I'm not really maybe hypothetically, Kawaki's gonna like kill Sarada, I guess. I don't know.
No, exactly. No,
here.
You already got it. You got my rewrite. Okay, the scar. I'm rewriting the scar. Instead of Boruto jumping in front of Kawaki at the last minute to get the scar, in this case, the reason Sarada has to defend him is because Momoshiki realized one of Boruto's allies just showed up. Momoshiki, again, like, paralyzes Boruto so that his friend is forced to defend him, and Momoshiki knows that Kawaki's obviously stronger, so Momoshiki knows that Boruto's gonna watch Kawaki hurt or kill Sarada. Rather than Boruto just being able to do whatever at any point, Boruto can't do anything. That's why Sarada has to step in. Rather than her being, like, basically just ignoring Kawaki. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, no, I like that. The question is, what's the end of the scene? Does Kawaki just hit Sarada? Does Boruto just let Momoshiki take over because Sarada's gonna die? Like, which is also weird because Momoshiki was kill Sarada anyway. But like, what's the end result of this scene?
Yeah, that's the hard part, because how does Boruto get the scar in this case? So I would still like it if Sarada
maybe
gets
like
hurt.
Kawaki. I could say maybe Kawaki just kicks Sarada away. I guess we could just do this. Instead of Kawaki trying to kill Sarada, he just like takes the hand and slaps Sarada away, and then he goes to give Boruto the scar, and Boruto gives up control at like the same moment or something, but Kawaki lands the scar hit or something. Or maybe
No,
Kawaki just slashes his eye and
so
yeah, I don't know,
I
that
want
seems
it to
weird. So
be something because I want this to be like a very impactful, heavy moment filled with a big consequence. Again, just like Boruto's scar. So I want Sarda to get some kind of serious injury here because of Momoshiki doing this, and Momoshiki gloating about it the whole time, before, during, and after. So I don't know exactly what would happen to Sarda, and then whatever happens to her
you
is
can't just
obviously going to
kill
make Boruto
her.
feel no, definitely not kill, but maybe freaking give her a scar too. The scar buddies, Boruto and
Maybe,
Sarda.
I don't know if you would like this idea. Maybe Kawaki, instead of just going straight to Shinobi or those who die early, he whips out the blade like he's gonna kill her. Maybe he just like slaps her away, then she comes back to fight him again. He beats her up harder, and then each time until like maybe the third time, he's just like, that's it. I knew it. You guys suck. I'm killing you. Like instead of just jumping straight to it, it's more like he's beating her up and he slashes her. Like maybe he like slashes her forehead. I don't care. The point is he's cutting her up a little bit before going for the kill. Or he just stabs her and she just doesn't die. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he could do what happened to Inojin, just donut her, and then maybe Mitsuki or someone can like try and heal the wound temporarily, but then later in the forest, the stitches opened up right when she unlocks Mangekyo, and that's why she can't do anything after that. There's a lot of ideas you can play with.
Maybe we have to figure out how we're not going to kill her. So while donutting her is killer and I love it, then we're going to run to the issue of why is Sarda alive.
Well,
So
not donut,
we got to do
not donut in
something.
terms of a hole, just like the stab sword, just like stab through her, like a stab, like a
But I was going to say
sword.
he could stop Sorter, and then it's just like a major injury, but not one
Yeah.
we're led to believe she's dying from. It's more just like maybe she says like, "Oh, he didn't hit a vital, but still, this is bad. I need a doctor or whatever."
Or I
Like
like it even better
But
if
they emphasized that it wasn't a vital, but like
no, I
or
like it
something.
better the other way around, where he was aiming for a vital. Thank goodness I moved out of the way at the last minute. Just like Naruto and Sasuke, something like that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but my point is he doesn't hit the vital.
Yeah. So another aspect of this is in Two Blue Vortex. This adds more tension between Sarada and Kawaki, because in this case, Kawaki did seriously injure Sarada, rather than just like Boruto
Yeah.
jumping in the way. In this case, they do have unfinished business, basically. To be fair, Kawaki still doesn't know either way that Sarada knows, but in this case, Kawaki's actually doing something to Sarada rather than not actually doing something to Sarada. Like we
Yeah,
got in the
like
original.
he actually is able to do that something to Sarda before Boruto saves him. And then in this case, the scar like wouldn't be saving Sarda. It would be Kawaki gets the hit on Sarda, and then Boruto's like, crying, whatever he's doing, he's despairing, and then Kawaki walks up to Sarda. You know what's good about this? Okay, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. Kawaki gets blood on his face from the stabbing Sarda. Then he sprouts the horn, looks down on Boruto, who has the heart attack on the ground, and what do we have? We have the panel from Momoshiki's prophecy that
Yep.
never happened.
Exactly.
And that's when Kawaki's going to give Boruto the scar, because he's going to be like, goodbye, Boruto. He slashes it down, and that's when Boruto gives him to Momoshiki, and Kawaki manages to barely give him the scar, basically.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. I was also thinking two other possibles. Okay,
I
so
was gonna
first of
add this
all,
to the rewrite.
we shouldn't get the reveal that like Sarada dodged the vitals until the last minute, until after Boruto
After
gets the
Momoshiki's,
scar.
yeah.
Yeah, so for a
Yeah.
moment there, we do think Kawaki might have just killed Sarada, and just as Boruto does.
So basically, like, maybe Momoshiki starts to fight Kawaki, whatever they do there, and Sarda's just like huffing and puffing, like, thank God, I barely missed my heart or whatever.
Yeah. So
Now, of course, in this case, we do need to integrate. So in this case, omnipotence hasn't happened. So, just real quick for this rewrite idea, which I do like, is omnipotence still going to happen? Do we want to play with both ways? One way where omnipotence happens, one way where it doesn't.
So what if Momoshiki knows that Boruto's in despair, but he can sense, Boruto can't sense it, but Momoshiki can sense that Sarada's still alive. It's only a matter of time until Boruto realizes that, stops despairing, and takes back over. So Momoshiki knows he's on a time limit, which gets into my rewrite where Borushiki starts going over to Himawari for the permanent despair.
I was gonna say he could go to Himawari or Sarada in this case. Now, I think while the Himawari one I like almost better, I will say, as far as Mitsuki goes, having Boruto like attack Sarada in front of Mitsuki's eyes could work for Mitsuki attacking Sarada or attacking Borushiki. I will say, I mean, granted, he could just do it with Himawari anyway, but
I mean, unless Omnipotence happens, I don't think Mitsuki's
Then,
gonna
yeah.
go for the kill on Boruto, regardless if he tries to kill Sarada or not.
I do have to agree with that. In which case, I guess Mitsuki would just fight Kawaki if there's no Omnipotence in this case.
This could also keep Kawaki away from Borushiki for the time being. Could be really interesting. Which could be how you get to the...
Mitsuki's fighting him.
Yeah, since you already have that in your Mitsuki rewrite anyways, right? Or am I wrong on that?
Well, in my Mitsuki rewrite, it's Omnipotence happened. I only changed after that.
Okay.
So Mitsuki fought Borushiki because of Omnipotence. So it does keep Kawaki out of it, yes, but it's not Mitsuki versus Kawaki. It's
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
Kawaki. Kawaki was just running to Boruto.
Bro, this is crazy how we can come up with like 50 different ways to rewrite this scene. It's like Ikimoto chose the one path, the one branching pathway of these multiple... That's just the worst possible outcome. He chose the worst of all scenarios. Like, Hannah Montana, best of both worlds, he chose the worst of all of them.
The worst possible future... I cracked Boruto. The worst possible future that Boruto speaks of is Two Blue Wars.
Boruto wasn't wrong. We're already living the timeline. That's so funny.
It's crazy though, because like we're coming off with this shit off the top of the head, and it's like it's just a bunch of different alternatives. Like we've established like 50 different approaches, and it doesn't take a 3-month hiatus to do this. We're doing the spur of the moment.
Bro, you know what's hilarious? So, what if this is just proof that we're just better with Boruto and Naruto than the authors are? Like, in the same way, I'm clearly, based on what I was showing you off stream, that I just clearly know the YouTube editor infinitely better than YouTube themselves. What if we just do know Boruto better than, like, Ikimoto? That's just why. He's a novice
I
at this.
think so at this point, bro, because, you know, I hate, like, I would feel very confident just being, like, the editorial role. Like, I just wish I was one of Ikimoto's editors, so I could just be like, no, bro, like, don't do that. Do something more like this. I'll give you 3 possibilities. Just pick one of these.
Literally, like, please, I will write up a 50-page draft of 10 different versions. Do any of them.
Don't do the one you started.
This is your vomit draft, not the final draft. Do you know the difference?
The problem here is that while I don't really like Omnipotence in general, and I admit that, I still think with Omnipotence, this is the purpose of the Mitsuki Momoshiki rewrite video that I never finished. It's that's not the major problem. The major problem is the whole Boruto despairing Momoshiki dynamic, all that shit, because everything we're doing right now is just offering alternative ways to get that moment that we didn't actually get.
Yeah.
So while I don't like Omnipotence, it doesn't really matter because you can keep it and still write a perfectly good story here.
You know, speaking